Hi everybody, welcome to video number 25 in the UE5 vehicle tutorial series. Now in the previous videos we created this little menu here that allows us to change colors in different slots such as this. And now what we want to do in this video is going to be pretty complex because now we need to save these and apply them, and so we need to implement some sort of inventory, really. And that is not going to be an easy thing to do. This is a pretty advanced kind of a system we're going to create. Even though I'll keep it very basic, this is still something that's considered advanced, I guess. And we're also going to have to add a little button here to apply settings. Because, if you want to cancel that, you can just click another car and come back to it, or you can apply it, and then all of the customization you've done will get saved and applied to the vehicle when you actually hit play. Now, I have to say, primary data assets and data assets are considered static, meaning you cannot edit those at runtime. So they're good for holding, because we're speaking of inventory here, they're good for holding an item's name, weight, description, cost, category, all of that stuff that doesn't change. But then you need to store that inside of another structure that's dynamic, that will hold, for example, the quantity that you have, and things of that nature that will actually change at runtime while you're playing. And the way I found to work best while working on my game Ironbirds is to create a structure. So go ahead, blueprint structure, which we're going to call struct vehicle, let's call it item. And in this struct, you are going to have a few variables. The very first one will be the data asset that's going to be linked to it. That's going to be our sorry, I forgot the name that we actually gave it. That will be our vehicle DA. Or vehicle PDA, actually. Sorry about that. The other thing is we have to save the colors that we've set in the menu. So we're going to need 3 linear color variables. One for primary, secondary, and wheels. And we're going to save that. Now in the menu we've set up an array of data assets, and we need to change that for an array of struct containing that data asset and other infos that we're going to need to change at runtime, such as the color, but that also includes every other customizable aspect of your vehicle. If you want to do an adjustment for the suspension height ride or ride height, you're going to have to save that in the struct as well. So let's go back here into our UI folder, main menu, and I am not going to replace the array. Rather, I will create another variable, and I'll just right click and find reference to replace every reference of it with the new strut array before actually deleting it. And I'm going to call it vehicle inventory. because we're eventually going to save that as the player inventory. Struct vehicle item. We need to make that an array. Eventually, like much later in this series, we're going to make that a map, because we will create a player inventory that doesn't have all the cars in it, because we want the player to have to unlock them or buy them or win them or whatever. And so we'll have to convert this into a map to be able to search the player inventory to know whether or not the player inventory includes a specific car, to display whether we can customize and drive it or if we have to buy it. But for now, let's keep it as simple as I can. Let's not go more complicated than I have to. Let's make this an array. Now, same as the cars PDA array here, I will have to create an entry for every vehicle I want to be able to display into the menu. So that is 10 array elements. Okay. Now the first one, can I actually open this in 2 different windows side by side to make this faster? I don't think I can. Well, that'll take a little bit of time. So there's the Porsche, Savannah, Nissan, Porsche, Savannah. Then the CLK, RX-7 VS, RX-7. Supra, Chiron, Impreza, and Evo. Okay, and now we have to set the default colors that the cars are going to have. Well, like I said, by default, if the player hasn't set any custom colors. Okay, so the Chiron by default has a nice blue color to it. Does not have a secondary, and the wheels are kind of a medium gray. Oh, that is the Porsche. The Savannah is a nice shade of red with medium gray wheels. Nissan is orangish with black wheels, but not completely black. The CLK is pretty close to white, and I don't remember the color of the wheels. They're black, okay. The RX-7, if I recall properly, is yellow. And does it also have black wheels? Nope. And the Evo is blue too, I think. What about the wheels though? Black. Oh no, I made it white, okay. Okay, now we need to find all the reference to the original array. Okay, that wasn't so hard. Okay, that's pretty cool. That was easy. Now let's go ahead and do the same for the button. That's the menu actor. Okay, I'm not actually referencing the cars array anywhere in the vehicle button. How about the brand? Yes. So get vehicle inventory, do a for each loop. Okay, and now if we play, we should see absolutely no difference whatsoever, unless we broke something. So Bugatti shows me the Bugatti. I get the colors. Okay. Now let's open up also the game instance. And also the game mode. So vehicle game mode and vehicle game instance. Now here we have a variable to the pawn, which just isn't gonna cut it. So we need a variable here for selected vehicle, and that'll be the same struct that we're using in the menu. So struct vehicle heighten, and we're gonna have to set it in the menu in place of where we usually set the pawn. Okay, we're setting it once here. Set selected vehicle. We're going to use this one instead. And I believe I also do this in the vehicle button. That would be right there. Okay, now I don't remember if I've actually showed you this part or not, but I have created a vehicle index integer that is instance editable and exposed on spawn. And in the main menu, whenever I create those widgets for the buttons, the populate vehicle list, I will take the index of the array and I will populate this variable inside of the button widget. And that's going to be important for this next step, because we will be using our own vehicle index to grab from the main menu the vehicle inventory. There you go. And we want to get this index. And then here in the game instance, we will set selected vehicle. Okay. It is also quite important for the future that I've also created a selected vehicle integer, which is called vehicle index, inside the main menu itself. And whenever I click a button, I will actually grab the main menu and set the vehicle index to the vehicle index of this button that was assigned by the main menu when the widget was created. And so now the menu knows which car you are currently selecting from the inventory, and that's going to be important for the future. And I believe with that done, we are ready to go into the game mode. And here, instead of the selected vehicle class, we are going to get selected vehicle. we will break that, grab the data asset, and pretty sure there's a class in there. Yes, get vehicle class. And that is what we're going to use to set the default pawn class now. And I promise all of that will make sense eventually in the future. Probably before the end of this video. Okay, now we can go back here into the game instance and remove this variable. That shouldn't be used anywhere anymore. And inside the menu, the original cars vehicle PDA array can be deleted as well. And now once more, just making sure we didn't break anything. Awesome. And now the even more complicated part. Where to start? There's so much to do. We'll start with actually displaying it in the menu and creating the apply button. And then we'll move on to applying the color to the car whenever we hit play. Okay, so right here in the menu actor, where do we actually set the mesh and initialize color? We're gonna make room here, a lot of it. Okay, so we have a variable here for menu actor that we've created. Actually, no, we haven't created it in this class. It's in the main menu UMG. Okay, let's grab it. Get menu actor. Get display mesh. Is it actually a good idea to do this here? Or shall we do that in the initialize colors? Where I'm actually already getting and creating material instances. Yeah. Okay, yep. I'm going to do this directly in the main menu and not on the button, because that's gonna make a lot more sense actually. So here our selected vehicle index is going to come in handy. We're gonna get the vehicle inventory. We are going to break this so that we can access the colors that are set here into the array struct, because whenever we apply changes to the colors, this is where we are going to save them. And so if we want to load the colors we saved, this is where we have to load them from. So here, instead of getting the color that's already on the car for the input color, we are going to set vector parameter value for the color. To the one we have saved here into the inventory struct. So that's the primary. It's cool. And then we'll do that for every slots, basically. That's going to be the secondary. I forgot to plug that in. That is very important. And lastly, here is going to be our wheels. Now, I know I had a branch in the previous video and I removed it. I'm going to add it back. So if paint2 equal -1, let's feed that into a branch. If it's false, we create the dynamic material instance. And if it's true, we go directly here to set visibility and we skip creating the dynamic material instance, setting a variable for it, and changing the vector parameter. Now, as you can see, something is off. Probably because we initialize colors before changing the index. Is that possible? Yes. Yes, we do actually initialize colors before changing the index. So whenever we initialize colors, we're doing so with the previous index. Crazy. So let's actually copy that. Just ignore that. That's something I did for myself. Just ignore it. So what we're going to do here is we are going to set the vehicle index from the main menu to our own from this button before we initialize colors. And now everything is back to normal. That is great. And just to demonstrate a little bit, let me go ahead and change the colors of the Porsche. And now as you can see, the Porsche is whatever color I've set into that strut, meaning I can now create the apply button and save the selected colors onto the strut, and then we can transfer those over to the game instance and then to the game mode to apply them onto the car when we play. So let's go ahead right now, create that famous apply button. So that vertical box here shouldn't be taking the entire space. So I will be adding padding, if I can find it. Actually, I cannot do that because that is a vertical box in a border. So what I need to do is to wrap this with yet another vertical box. Okay, now we have a vertical box inside a vertical box. This one here I will set to fill. And then I'll add a button. I'll just duplicate one of those, or actually copy and paste it into the first and not the second vertical box. And the reason I did that is because this vertical box for the settings is actually going to end up in a scroll box for whenever we get too many options in there to fit on the screen. And so I want to be able to scroll through the options and always have the apply button at the bottom there, not moving. Did I mention UI is one horrible thing to do? It's so complicated. It is, as you can probably see right now, it is starting to look a bit messy because we're nesting stuff inside of stuff that's also nested inside of something else, and it's yeah, it's gonna get worse a lot. So be ready for that. Now this button here, we can set padding to it. As you can see now, the vertical box distanced itself a little bit, which is good. Let's go ahead and change the text here to apply. Cool. More like save. Whatever. So we'll name this one here button save customization. And now whenever we click that button is where the magic happens. We are going to need to get our vehicle inventory. From it, we need to know which car we're currently working with. Okay, so now you're faced with the option to either get a copy or a reference. And the difference between the two is if you get a copy and you make changes to it, those changes will not be reflected to the array. Okay, basically a copy is a read-only version versus a reference is like a variable. It's a pointer basically that points to the array, and so it works in both ways. You can read and write it. And so whenever you're going to do something like this, you want to get a reference so that you can modify the content of the array for that index. Okay, so let's grab the vehicle index that we selected. And we are going to set members in strut. And you want to use set members in strut instead of actually setting. Although you can actually do that. Yes, set array element. Some people might be tempted to use the set array element and just in the item make a make struct and then just transfer everything. But you'll soon notice when that struct has 150 different variables, you do not want to have to transfer them over one by one. You'll appreciate being able to change only the ones that you've modified. So let's go ahead and use set members and struts here, and then you get all of the options here in the struts, and you can choose to expose them or not. And so we're not going to expose the data asset because we're not changing anything in it. And now what you want to do is get the colors that are currently applied to the vehicle and save them here into the strut. So you are going to get menu actor, or actually you do not need that. Nope, because we've created material instances which you can get the colors from. unfortunately. So let's go ahead and get all three of them. And get vector parameter value for the color. And let's do it 3 times. Did I mention that this video was gonna get pretty complicated? And mind you, this is me keeping it as simple as I can. We're actually gonna complicate this system a lot later on. Just trying to, baby steps. Sorry about that. That moved really quickly. And this is also the reason it took me so long to make these vehicle customization tutorial, is because this is kind of crazy. This is really not for beginners. And I just know like the Discord server is gonna get flooded with people who did not watch my previous videos and don't know much about programming, let's say it that way, and they just stumbled upon my video and it's the first one they watch and they have like a million questions and they don't understand anything. For good reasons, because this is not beginner friendly, what I'm doing here. But you know what? I'll risk it. I'll risk it because you guys have been requesting this video for so long. Now, if we done everything correctly, we can change the color here. And if we don't hit save, nothing changes. And if we do hit save, ta-da! Great, awesome. So this is it. We have now saved the changes to the colors. Let's save that one as well. Let's make this one green for good measure. And now if we go back and forth all of them, we can see that the color changes we've made have been saved into the strut. They are reapplied to the vehicle whenever we switch vehicles. And now all we have to do is feed that strut into the game instance, to the game mode, to the vehicle itself, so the vehicle will know which color to apply to itself when you spawn it inside of the map. And that does not include saving that strut array to a save slot. So if you close the game and reopen it, it's going to reset itself for now. Okay. Now whenever we hit play is when we want to get the selected vehicle and set it inside the game instance. Not whenever we click the vehicle on the button. We're still gonna set it at begin play, just so we have a default variable. But we're not gonna set it here at the vehicle button. This here we are going to remove it. So Control X for cut, because we're gonna paste it back some other place. Back to the main menu. Whenever you hit play, before you open the level, you are going to paste that. Now obviously this is going to give us errors because this here was referencing the main menu from another widget, so we don't need that. We actually just need the array. And the reason I do this is because this array here gets updated whenever you save the changes. And so if you don't set the game instance with the most up-to-date strut, then the changes you've made to the color won't be applied. So you have to do things in the right order, in the right places, and in the right way. It's crucial, otherwise nothing's gonna work. And you're gonna have a nightmare chasing down the rabbits. And I believe this is all we have to do. Do we even need to do anything with the game mode, or shall we just go directly in the vehicle blueprint? You know what? I think I'm gonna go with the vehicle blueprint. So vehicle, see for me the master class, the first vehicle I've made that all the vehicles in the project are derived from, for me is the Porsche. And so whenever I want to change something for every single vehicle in the project, I'm going to change it inside the Porsche blueprint. And whatever I change in here will be reflected on every other vehicle. So let's go ahead and open up the construction script. Just like so. Let us get our game instance. Make sure it is valid, because the construction script can break your game if it crashes, or if it's got errors or whatever. So you want to be extra careful in here. And also the construction script is ran in the editor, not just in the game. And so in editor you do not have a game instance. And so you don't want to try to do anything in the editor. So that is valid node is very important. Now from the game instance we want to cast it to our BP vehicle GI. And then we want to get the selected vehicle. We're going to break it. And now we have access to the color variables that we've set in the menu. And we need to apply that to the vehicle itself. So let's grab the vehicle mesh here. And we'll repeat the same process that we did in the main menu for the creating the dynamic material instances. And so I'll just really copy and paste it. So let's go ahead and copy all of this. Now the reroute node, the top one, won't be copied over. That's okay. I don't mind it. So this is going to be our mesh. Get material index. Also mesh component. Sorry about that. And then we will set the color of that material to the primary color that we've set in the menu that we're accessing through the game instance. Cool. Now do that for the paint underscore 02 as well. And remember, this one is optional. So your vehicle may or may not have that material slot, and you wanna check that, just like we did in the menu. Oh boy. If it equals -1, we're not going to do the following. Feed that into a branch. So if it's false, if the index does not equal -1, meaning we actually found the material slot. So that if this is false, then we execute this and actually set the color to the secondary color. And if it's true, we just skip it and go right to the third material slot, which will be the wheels. This one, material slot, I believe was called rims, like such. And this is the wheel colors, right there. Now at this point I completely lost track of time, and I'm just hoping that I haven't been recording for like 2 hours or something. Because I can totally see myself doing that. Just losing track of time and making a 2-3 hour long tutorial. So let's hope that I didn't do that. Okay, get material here. I forgot to plug that into the mesh as well. Rookie mistake. That's what happens when you copy and paste too much like this, is you don't really check your work, and you can do silly mistakes, which can be really problematic later when you try to find what happened, you know. Now, as you can see, I've set the default color in the main menu strut to be red, which means the thumbnail isn't representative anymore. I'll have to fix that eventually. Let's make it yellow, just for the sake of a demonstration. Let's save that, and let's play. And there you go. You got yourself a yellow Porsche. And now, now you have to do this for every single thing you want to be able to customize, which is just absolutely beautiful. Well, we did most of the work. Really, the hardest one was the first one, because we had to create the strut, the inventory, create all of these functions, and now all we have to do is set variables in that strut. So the hardest one to make was your first one, and now everything you want to add to it will be a lot easier and a lot quicker. So don't get all discouraged or anything. You can do this. That's it. So let's go ahead and play some more. As you can see, like I told you, I'm not saving that strut array into a save slot, and so whenever you leave the game, you're going to lose those changes, which is fine. We'll do that in the next video, because I think you've had enough for one video. Alright, on that note, I will end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something and your brain didn't catch fire or anything. And I'll see you very soon in the next video.